What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got some more Iron Man for you. This time with the debut issue of a brand new series by writer Spencer Ackerman. Now, the last time we saw Tony Stark's Iron Man, at least in his own series, it was at the end of the Fall of the House of X event when he had helped out the mutants. And after it was all over with, he had regained control over his company, Stark Unlimited. And he was gifted with his riches back by his former wife, Emma Frost, for basically staying solid and fighting for them like he did. But after barely making it out of one war, Tony Stark is about to have another on his hands, as both Roxxon and AIM team up to take control of Stark Unlimited. So if you guys are ready to see what happens when Iron Man immediately goes from one war right into the start of another, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So this issue kicks off in upstate New York at one of Stark Unlimited's plants. And when the workers show up for work, they're unexpectedly locked out and met with these two guards telling them that the plant is closed for today. But one of the workers speaks up, thinking that this is Tony Stark locking them out and keeping them from their plans to unionize. And he demands for them to open the gate. But the two guards, they take no hesitations in transforming into these hulking monsters who leap the gate and then rush the crowd of workers, who all scatter, leaving that main union guy on his own to fend for himself against them. But turns out he's a former Marine, so he holds his own for a short while. But he's obviously comically overmatched until a blast comes in, taking down one of the guards by Iron Man, who comes in, ensuring the Union guy that he did not approve this lockout. While he also thinks to himself that he's glad he didn't wear his anti-magic Mysterium armor just for a routine check. And he came in his regular Iron Man armor, which is a choice that I don't think I would have made. That Mysterium armor would be my normal everyday Iron Man suit, I'm just saying. But Stark then blasts open the gates to the factory, and then he blasts both the mutated guards, who then turn back into their human forms and run off. And after they leave, the workers all come back and head into the building, with Tony Stark asking the lead guy named Ramon for a factory walkthrough. And initially this guy Ramon is skeptical of Stark, but Tony assures him that he's not here to bust the Union. He honestly just got his company back after the last guy, Feilong, had made it into a Sentinel factory. And his AI alerted him to Ramon's organizing drive, so he figured that he'd be the guy to talk to. But that's when Ramon fills him in that Stark himself is the reason for organizing. They know he doesn't like the murder bots that they're making, to which Tony of course agrees, but Ramon tells him that they also make artillery shells there. And although he's had enough of dealing with artillery during his first tour, he really just needs this job, just like everyone else there. So Stark assures Ramon that he will not put them out of work, and that there's plenty of other things that they can make, like semiconductors, for example. But this kind of only proves Ramon's point, though, that they constantly go back and forth with what they make without any say-so, and they're tired of being an afterthought. So Stark agrees that he'll recognize their union, and they'll write up a contract that the union could agree to, which pleases Ramon. And they shake hands on it, and then Tony Stark flies off. But as he flies off, his suit just shuts off and he goes crashing back down. And then we pick up with him in Manhattan many weeks later as he wakes up in a hospital bed, and he thinks that he's getting old because he was in bed way longer than usual, and his recovery also took longer than expected. But what's really bothering him is that nothing in his diagnostics registered anything wrong with his armor's propulsion, fuel, or data systems. So why the hell did he fall out of the sky, he questions. And until he can find an answer, he decides to run a global update on all of his armor. Every suit he has online will get the update patch. Then he wonders if he should go back to using a Neuralink interface, because syncing the armor to his nervous system would have alerted him to the suit's misfire before he went airborne. But unfortunately, the link for that occurs in the midbrain, which could cause hell since he's an alcoholic and this would mess with his dopamine levels. But he's then alerted by his AI that it's almost time for his board meeting, and he knows that he can't miss this meeting since it's his first after regaining Stark Unlimited back. So he's got no choice but to hop in the suit and fly again. And shortly after, he arrives at the board meeting and he flies in through the window. And under his Iron Man suit, he's still in a dingy old t-shirt and heavily bandaged. But he's met by his board who don't quite appreciate his unprofessionalism. And even Melinda May, aka the Cavalry from S.H.I.E.L.D., is a board member here. But when she tells Tony that they do have the good of Stark Unlimited at heart, Tony then goes into his pitch for his next idea for the company. Stark Booking, an app to bet on superhero fights. There's minimal overhead with huge revenue opportunities. But he really just wants to take Stark Unlimited out of the weapons business for good. But Tony's then greeted by the guest of the board, Dr. Rappaccini, the scientist supreme of AIM, which makes Tony freak out. But apparently when he was in the hospital, Rappaccini, along with her partners at Roxxon, made a very lucrative offer for Stark Unlimited. And the offer is based on the company's current share price as a weapons manufacturer. And although Tony immediately attempts to reject her offer, the board informs him that it's up to their vote. And once the offer is tabled, then their business operations become frozen in place. So the doctor drops off the paperwork and tells the board that she'll see them all at the vote. And then tells Tony that she actually likes his Stark book idea, for the record. Meanwhile, back at home, Tony doesn't take losing very well. He just got his company back from Fei Long, and now this? If he shuts down the weapons plant on his own, then the shareholders will sue him. Plus the board would oust them for taking action without them. And since Jack Jr., one of the board members that doesn't too much like Stark, since he has signed a letter of intent with Roxxon and AIM to pursue the merger, it now makes Stark missile production ordinary business that Tony cannot interfere with. And he then goes from staring at the documents hoping for a lifeline to then reading social media comments about himself, including one from an account named @FlyingTiger, stating that the only thing dropping Iron Man faster than me is gravity, which sparks a response from Tony asking Flying Tiger who he even is anyway. But then Tony notices from his window an explosion off in the distance, followed by another message from Flying Tiger laughing at Iron Man and telling him to come and find out who he is. And then letting Tony know that he left his location turned on. So of course Tony suits up and goes to check out the explosion, which ends up being a laundromat that got torched just because Tony decided to post recklessly, which he feels responsible for. Although his scans show that at least no one was inside. And when he goes in to put the fire out, he's then attacked from behind by Flying Tiger and Tiger Shark. And although Stark manages to fight them off, they still manage to dish out some pain his way. But then he's notified by his AI that a streaming signal is detected, meaning that these guys are streaming this whole fight, leading Iron Man to mock that their followers just watched them get owned. But Flying Tiger responds that when the boss says take a punch, I take a punch. And you didn't even think about wearing your magic armor, prompting Stark to take off and think to himself that he's an idiot. Whatever shorted out his suit wasn't a mechanical sabotage, but instead magic, which is why his diagnostics didn't catch anything. And he hates magic. But he's thankful that he does at least still have his anti-magic Iron Man suit. But he also wonders how Flying Tiger even knows about that suit. And word spreading about it makes him glad that he hid it in this Long Island warehouse that he had just bought and he's heading to. But when he flies into the warehouse, he's met by the fist of one of those two mutated security guards from earlier. And even though he's in a suit of armor right now, Tony Stark is feeling that pain. So he thinks to himself, just get the suit and get to the hospital. But he manages to take the hulking guards down with his repulsor rays and then asks them what they're doing inside of his warehouse. But that's when Justine Hammer walks in and turns on a light switch, then tells Tony that this isn't his warehouse, but hers. And Tony's initial reaction to seeing her is questioning that he thought that she was killed already by Zeke Stane. But comic books, right? And she tells Tony that he should be used to people coming back from the dead. And Roxxon has powerful allies in other dimensions that brought her back to close the Stark acquisition. Then she lets him know that Roxxon lent her this Berserker team, and their first step was locking out his weapons plant. Then she had two of her old Masters of Evil do some gig work, which we saw with that live stream ass whooping, while they raided his hidden treasure trove here. But Tony has heard enough and he decides to call for his Mysterium armor. But nothing happens, as she then informs him that his Mysterium was the last component that she needed for the new Ironmonger as she activates her new suit with his tech. She jacked his Mysterium armor and made a big-ass mech suit. And at first he jokes about her taking the suit that his wife just got him. But she tells him that he's missing the big picture. See, this isn't any kind of armor war, as Stark has already lost, she tells him. All of his armors are about to be hers, along with his entire company, as they have the board votes they need. See, Tony's board realizes that the world's largest oil company is pretty well capitalized. Roxxon's enchanting new CEO, AIM Scientist Supreme, and the sheer innovation of Stark. They'll corner both the global arms and energy markets. And as Iron Man continues to try to fight back, she tells him that he's still not getting it, that he's been beaten, and asks if he knows why his armor fell out of the sky, before she lets him know that it was because she said so. As she then tells his armor once again to drop, and that's exactly what happens as he comes crashing back down to the ground. Roxxon's extra-dimensional allies added something magical to AIM malware, and those berserkers uploaded it to Stark's servers at the Sentinel Factor. And if he had only been wearing his Mysterium armor then, he'd probably be good right now. But he definitely made the wrong choice. And then that little global armor update that he did just made matters worse for him. You should really learn some basic magic, Tony, she tells him. It's a whole new business climate out there. Even one of your old Avengers allies is with us. As she transforms from out of her Ironmonger suit and hops into a limo, she tells him that she'll see him at the board vote. And then we pick up with him back at square one, building a new armor, as he thinks to himself that he spent way longer than he wanted in the hospital, and he neglected his company, his father's legacy, for too long playing superhero. But Justine's wrong, and she's about to learn that Roxxon and AIM are seriously undercapitalized. So she beat me in a fight. First time for everything, and last time for everything. She said this isn't another armor war, but she doesn't know how right she is about that. All of their wealth, everything they have, is about to burn. Because this is the Stark-Roxxon war. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about the start of this new series for Tony Stark? And how he goes from one war right into another one? I also feel like since this is a brand new series with a new writer, that Spencer Ackerman was like, nah, bro, take that OP new armor that he just got and start him back over again from square one. Tony just can't catch a break. But how do you guys think that Tony will get out of this jam? And who do you think that the former Avengers ally is that's now working with AIM and Roxxon? You guys know I want to hear all your thoughts and theories on that one. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by stopping by the Comics Icon store and picking up some Comics Icons merchandise, including the background music heard right here in this video available for download, or by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership. And there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll get loyalty badges, member shoutouts, and up to 20% off of Comics Icons merchandise from the Comics Icon store. And even a chance to pick a video of your own choosing for me to post. Plus, we've got tiers to the memberships as well, beginning at just 99 cents. Or you guys could donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of that, then you can still help out this channel's future tremendously by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time.